It's time to find the best compact COB bicolor studio light that won't break the bank. Sirui C60B versus Colbor CL60. Let's go. Those are bicolor COB 60W lights. Colbor is actually advertised to be 65 watts, but watts don't directly relate to actual brightness. It's just a power draw number. So we'll have a look at the brightness levels very soon. The CCT range on Sirui light is from 2800 Kelvin to 7000 Kelvin, and on Colbor we have 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin, so Sirui has a little bigger range, but Colbor can be a bit warmer. So now we'll be comparing the brightness levels, and here I have the Colbor CL100, the bigger brother of Colbor CL60, which is going to be a point of reference whether the 60W lights are okay versus 100W lights, and how much brighter the CL100 is going to be. And it's also a bicolor light. And by the way, look how much bigger the CL100 is compared to Sirui and CL60. So first let's have a look at the brightness levels at 100% on each light at 5600 Kelvin. The camera settings are also written right here, and Sirui is on the left, Colbor CL60 is in the middle, and Colbor CL100 is on the right. And straight away, guys, we can see that the CL100 is a bit brighter, but it's not a dramatic difference, and the CL60 comes at the second place and Sirui on the third, but the difference is really minor. And remember, guys, we are comparing those lights without any light modifiers. So now let's have a look at 3200 Kelvin, and as you can see, Colbor is much brighter at this setting. And also it's obvious that the color temperature is a little bit different on all three lights. And looking at the waveform, we can now see that the CL100 has bigger advantage in 3200 Kelvin. It's more bright, but once again, guys, the difference is minor. So now let's put on the kit reflectors to all three of the lights, and we can see the difference in the quality of those reflectors. Sirui has a pretty nice reflector with even beam, a little hot spot in the middle, but nothing too crazy. And as you can see, the Colbor CL60 has a very pronounced hot spot in the middle because of the size of the reflector. It provides a ton of output. As you can see, it's the brightest spot out there, but it's a hot spot, so it's both an advantage and a disadvantage, more of a disadvantage to me. And the Colbor CL100 also has a pretty nice, soft and even spread with the reflector. On the waveform, we see a huge spike of CL60. It's very pronounced, but remember, guys, it's only in this tiny area, the hotspot. And by the way, the Sirui light and the Colbor CL60 with the reflector are kind of the same. So now let's have a closer look at the barebones Colbor CL60, and we can see that the beam angle is pretty big, nice and even, and the fall off is also very smooth, and we don't see a huge color shift on the edges of the beam. Here is the Sirui. As you can see, it's also having a pretty big and even beam, but towards the edges it has a slight color shift towards warmer and more green colors, but it's more than okay for me. And here are those two side by side. As you can see, the color temperature is also a little bit different. Sirui is kind of more warm and the Colbor is a little more cool on this image, but overall the beam angles are pretty similar. So now let's have a look at the kit reflector. As I said before, you have a huge hot spot, then we have a pretty even beam, and towards the edges you can see a very clear ring, which I don't like, so this reflector is not the best one. And on Sirui's kit reflector we see a very nice and even beam with very little hot spot in the middle. It's not that hot, and the edges are good enough for me. So here are those two side by side. I would say I would pick the Sirui if I want to light the subject straight, and I would pick the Colbor if I want to reflect the light off of a ceiling, for instance. So now let's have a look at the skin tone reproduction without any reflectors, as you can see here, and I would say the skin tone looks a tiny bit better on the Colbor, and the sharpness of the shadows is very similar on those two lights. So here we have 90 centimeters softbox, as you can see right here. It's around 1 meter away from me, so I cannot even touch it. So here it is through the softbox. You can clearly see the difference in color temperature, but overall the quality of light and the skin tone is good on both. And through the softbox we can see that the Colbor is a bit brighter. And one more thing, guys, is that I'm having the shutter speed of 1/50, f2.8 and 640 ISO in S-Log3, and it's more than enough for studio environment. You can easily shoot at f2.8 in a studio, so those two lights are more than okay for studio environment. So a few words about the real-world usage of those two lights. Here is the Sirui light. I used it on a photo shoot. I rarely shoot photos, but I did with this light with a softbox, as you can see right here. And also I used a couple of light tubes from Sirui as well. I have a review of those. You can find it in the description below. And here is the result we got. It's a pretty good result in my opinion, and it was more than enough for me on an actual shoot. Also, I used the Colbor CL60, shooting some product photography and videography for my friend, and as you can see, it was bouncing off of a ceiling, basically giving me the maximum output with the kit reflector with this hotspot, and here is the end result I was able to achieve using only this light. Pretty nice in my opinion. Both lights feature CRI and TLCI ratings at 96+. No complaints here. So now let's have a look at the kit and the bags. So both lights come in very nicely made bags. The materials and the stitching is very good. Sirui's bag is also having two of those straps for carrying light stands, like I show you here. It's a very welcome addition. Also, this bag is pretty big and it can fit both of those lights I'm discussing today, so the Colbor and the Sirui. And the Colbor's bag is much smaller, but I really like the padding and the materials, and overall it's a very nice bag as well. On Colbor we also do have a shoulder strap, but on Sirui we don't have it, only the handles from the sides. The total package weight of Sirui is 2.5 kilograms, whereas the total package weight of Colbor is almost 1 kilogram less, so it's 1.6 kilos. The Colbor light itself weighs only 570 grams, whereas Sirui weighs much more at 724 grams. So now let's have a look at the kit. In the Sirui's kit we have a very nice light stand. It's made out of plastic, but the joints are metal, and the base is made out of metal as well. It can tilt and rotate, and it can also be used as a handle for your light. Here is the light itself. The build quality is okay. It's mostly made out of plastic and metal, but I have no complaints for the build quality and the materials. Here we have a special NPF plate adapter, some buttons and dials. It's a very simple and straightforward light. Here is the COB itself, also the power brick and the cable, the NPF batteries adapter that fits right onto the light. And as I said before, you can use this kind of yoke as a handle, attach two NPF batteries on top, and you will be able to have a handheld, very nicely working at 100% brightness light, very portable, very efficient. Also here we have a reflector. As you can see, it's pretty big and has kind of a matte finish inside of it. I like this reflector. And now let's have a look at Colbor's kit. As you can see, inside we have everything packed really nicely and compact. Here is the light itself. It's mostly made out of aluminum, I guess. Feels like metal. We have a silicone front protective cap. And here is the light itself. You can see the COB. It's having kind of a straight lines of warm LEDs and white LEDs, and here on this side we have some locking mechanisms as well. We'll talk about those in a second. Here is the back of the light. We have some knobs and buttons basically, and a USB Type-C connector which powers on the light. And by the way, the radiator of this light is around the light and it's not in the body of the light. That is why it's that small. It's just resting on my palm easily. Here is the plastic Bowen's mount adapter. It's made out of decently good plastic, but it's not the sturdiest thing ever. I'll show you how to put it on in a second. Here is the kit reflector. It's a tiny little reflector and it has a lot of firepower, as you saw before. I like it as well because of its size and weight. It's very compact. Here is the yoke itself. It's also made out of aluminum. It's metallic and the joint is made out of metal as well. You can adjust the yoke itself and it's not tilting anywhere, and it can handle the 90 cm softbox, as you can see on this example. So let's attach the Bowen's mount adapter. As you can see, you simply kind of pull it onto the light and you just align the connections and connectors. And here it is. It's once again made out of plastic, but let's have a look how sturdy it is. So here it is with the 90 cm softbox, and I'm pulling it straight down and I try to shake it. Simply holding it's okay, but if I shake too crazy, like very strongly, you can make it fall off. But overall, it's doing the job, and as you can see, it's not falling off on a regular shoot. So now let's attach the light stand mount. As you can see, you simply slide it in. You can slide it in from the top or from the bottom. You simply lock it down, and it's a pretty nice and sturdy connection, but it's a proprietary connector, so you'd better not break it or lose it. As I said before, this light can be powered with USB Type-C, and in the kit you'll find a 90-watt charger or adapter, and you can use it with your other devices like, I don't know, maybe MacBook Pro even. And I really like this touch. And also you can power this light from a V-mount battery, for instance, like this one from ZG Cine, and I'm going to make a review of this battery pack very soon on the channel, so stay tuned. The cable length of Sirui light is around 2–2.5 meters, and it wasn't enough for me on an actual shoot. As you can see, I had to plug it into the extension cord, and it's not really convenient. And the Colbor light has around 3 meters of length, and it's more than enough for me for my kind of shoot, but I wish it was a bit longer as well. So now guys, let's have a look at Sirui's light and how it operates. So we can turn this on. The left knob will allow you to change your CCT value. If you press in, you'll go to the effects mode, and you can scroll through the effects with your left knob as well. You can see some diaphragms of those effects, and your right knob will adjust the brightness level. And if you press in the right knob, you can change up to 3 values for effects. So it's basically the rate of the effects, how fast they work. And we have a lot of built-in effects. Let's scroll through all of those. Yeah, it's more than enough for the most cases. And then when you scroll through all of the effects and you tap once again on your left knob, you'll go to CCT mode once again. With Colbor CL60 you have more options. So let's go to CCT mode. As you can see here, the upper dial will change your output level, and if you press in, you'll go through presets 25, 50, 75 and 100%, and you can go down by 1% or faster. The down knob will change your CCT value. As you can see right here, it can be done like so in 50 Kelvin increments, or you can press in for the presets. If you press the set button, you'll go to the main menu where you can reset your Bluetooth value, change the fan mode from smart to quiet. You can assign a group, you can change the communication level, you can make this light work as a repeater if you use multiple lights, kind of to daisy chain those. You can change your curve value from linear to, for instance, S-curve, E-curve, L-curve, and to linear again. The responsiveness from smooth to sharp, the language as well, and here's the product info. And if you press the effects button, you can see that the rate button is also illuminated. We have a ton of effects. The upper knob will change the intensity of your light, and the downward knob will change the temperature of the light during the effect. If you press down on the upper knob, you can jump between presets, and if you hit the effects button again, you can scroll through effects themselves. And there is a lot of effects, as you can see, and they are really easy to understand because of this little icon on the left. And if you press the rate button, you can change the level of it, kind of the intensity and the frequency of the effect, and you can pick one from 5 levels almost for all of the effects. So now guys, let's listen through the fan noise. I have to mention that those lights are very quiet, and I took the readings like right at the light from 5 to 10 centimeters from the light, and I raised up the volume of the audio track in post a lot. And also the Colbor light in quiet fan mode doesn't dim down. It is still working on 100%, but I didn't test it for like 10 or, I don't know, 7 hours. So probably it will dim down if you use it for a continuous period of time. So now guys, let's walk through the app. The Sirui app is pretty straightforward. You can group those lights into groups, which is nice. You can go through presets as well. You can change the CCT value. And as you can see, it shows up on the light. You can go through Kelvin presets as well. And also you can go to the effects tab, and you can definitely see that there is a lot of effects. You can pick different rates, 3 rates for each effect, change the brightness. So all in all, you can do mostly the same from the app that you can do on the light itself. And it's pretty easy to use and straightforward. And one more cool feature, when you turn off the light, it turns down very smoothly, as you can see, but when you turn it on, it turns on instantly. The Colbor app is also pretty straightforward. You can choose different lights and group them as well. You can change the intensity, the CCT, the rate of the effect, pick the effect, and all that stuff. So basically those two apps are very similar, both are simple to use, and there is no learning curve at all. And Colbor app also has the gels built in, which is cool. One more extra feature of Colbor CL60 light is that you can pair this light with different CL60 lights and get huge and humongous light with lighting matrix technology. So you can put up to, I don't know, 9 of those lights and get a huge light. It's a great idea, but you'll run into some issues with it. You cannot use modifiers, obviously, with it. You'll need a frost frame, for instance, and there is only one mounting point, and you'll have to provide power to each light, so it'll be a lot of cords in there. So, great idea, but I'm not sure if someone is going to use it on a daily basis. And now, guys, let's talk about the price. Sirui C60B on B&H costs $250, and it's a little bit overpriced in my opinion, because the competition is priced lower than this one. For instance, Colbor CL60 is only $150 on Amazon, which is a killer deal in my opinion. And one of the most popular lights from this category is Aputure Amaran COB60X is $200, so the Sirui is even more expensive than Amaran, but the Colbor is just killing it in terms of price. To conclude, I really think that for studio environment these lights are more than enough. And considering lightweight and portability, it's so easy to take to smoke shoots, not to carry too much weight with you. I would say it's a must-have tool in every videographer's kit, and it won't break the bank and will serve you well. Considering the price difference, Colbor is a clear winner, even if we compare it to Aputure Amaran 60X, with its extremely irritating foam case. I love the ability to power Sirui C60B from NPF batteries at 100% brightness, really enjoy bigger carrying bag that can fit both Sirui C60B and Colbor CL60 and a couple of stands on top of it as well. The kit reflector is also obviously more versatile and useful in my opinion, and I definitely can recommend Sirui C60B. But Colbor is just so cheap and it's really good. I like the build quality of it, output and versatility for the money. And to be honest, Colbor CL60 makes its own elder brother, Colbor CL100, almost useless and obsolete considering minor output differences and the size and weight. And I'm so glad that we get more and more such cheap yet great quality portable lights. It makes my life as a videographer much easier. Of course, 60-watt lights can't provide you with crazy output for lighting huge venues or shooting super slow motion with 1/1000 shutter speed, but they are more than capable, trust me. So what do you think, guys? Is there any better option for their money in this COB lights category, and which COB light do you use and why? Share all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell. Here is the Colbor CL100 review video, you can watch it next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye.